everybody. Hi, I'm Amy Peterson. I'm so excited to be here. I am a 2020 alumni as well as a grant recipient, and so this is my first time meeting people in person, and was happy to get a yay! Oh, hi, friend. See, this is why this is amazing. So just a little bit about me, and then we'll dive into like the panel about finding and retaining talent. I'm sure so many of us are struggling with that right now. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Rebel Nell. It's a certified women-owned business as well as certified social enterprise that exists in Detroit, Michigan. We provide employment, equitable opportunity, and wraparound support for women with barriers. We hire directly we have 7 local hiring shelter partners right now. And what makes us unique and what our product is we make unique, one-of-a-kind jewelry out of repurposed material, such as fallen graffiti, or iconic buildings. So it's a unique business, needless to say, but I've been doing it 9 years and honored to still be around and standing in front of all of you today. So I'm super excited to introduce my panelists up here. Okay. Irene, thank you for joining us.
Hi.
Hi. You're my cohort too. Yes.
Yeah. What year is it? I don't know.
I know, exactly. Irene is the co-founder of Mei Mei. Mei Mei. No, you told me it right. I'm sorry. Mei Mei Restaurant Group and Prepshift. Irene opened Mei Mei Restaurant in Boston in 2013 and has spent the years since driving the industry forward in ethical sourcing, fair and transparent employment practices, including open book management. Mei Mei has been featured by Food and Wine, Eater Boston, and the New York Times, People, Bon Appetit, the Boston Globe, and more. Today, Irene's focus is on transforming the restaurant world into an industry in which workers' needs and potential are taken seriously. Inspired by her peers, team members, and experiences in the industry, she developed Prepshift, a tech tool that supports businesses of all sizes to thrive sustainably and equitably. Awesome, thank you. Quick question, what's bringing you joy right now?
Well, I was just looking at that picture of me where I was like playing in a cranberry bog, and I was thinking about how it's fall and cranberries are back and bogs are back. So I'm pretty excited about that. As a food person, Thanksgiving is like my Olympics. So really excited.
Bogs, cranberry bogs.
Bogs, yes. Short answer. Bogs.
And also up here with me is Susan Ruth Lundy, is chapter chair and certified mentor of San Francisco's SCORE chapter, where she focuses on supporting service sector startups with business planning, HR management, and operations. Before joining SCORE, Susan spent nearly 40 years operating several different service-oriented businesses as a sole proprietorship, general partnership, C Corp, and S Corp. Most recently, she founded Benefits by Design in 2009, a company that designs employee benefit packages for small businesses. Thank you for joining us. You're welcome. What's bringing you joy right now?
October 1st, instead of being the full chair and handling all the leadership, I became co-chair, and I opened up to take more clients as being a mentor, and I'm so excited by my new clients. You can't imagine. They're just good people.
Congratulations. That's a good milestone. Okay, hiring and retaining talent is hard on a really good day, but with this current market, as we all know, it's even more difficult for small businesses. Do you guys mind sharing about what works for you as far as first acquiring, and then the second question is retaining, because I do think they're 2 separate questions.
Well, I guess hiring in food service is really tough, and I think turnover annually pre-COVID was about 75% in our industry, and I'm sure it's well over 100 right now. Everyone's too depressed to count, but I think it's pretty bad. So I think that in terms of hiring, for us, it's always been really important to be clear about who we are as a company and who we are looking for. You don't have to have food service experience, but you do need to be a pretty decent person. You have to be excited about the things that we're excited about. And I think that always kind of leading with knowing who we are has helped us attract people, and then having really strong systems to bring them on board so that even if they're not the right person, which I think we all hold out for, like, I need to find the right person, can you help them become the right person or a more right person for that job? And then I'll also just thank the panel before for saying, like, say yes to something that you might have said no to. Right now, we are not advertising at all for staff, but we have applications rolling in at all hours because people have heard me speak on a podcast or they went to something that I was at. And so just by existing, I am always trying to advertise our business. And I will also share that my business partner, Alyssa, she knows, I wish she could tell this. She can tell you why she hasn't left yet. But I will say that why she came is because she was a student at Babson, and she, I think, emailed me on a whim to ask if she could interview me for a project. And to date, I have never said no to a student who asked for an interview. Doesn't matter if they're in middle school or doing a PhD, they are ripe, you guys. They if they're already interested in you as a business, they could make an incredible potential employee and team member. So I'll leave it at that for now, and would love to hear Susan's answer.
I liked yours. That was good. 2 words, flexibility and transparency. And I know you've heard this from every recruiter everywhere for years and years. But the fact is, if you are flexible while you're interviewing and you just listen instead of talk the whole time, you will get some really awesome people. Now, if this were a group of men, they wouldn't listen to me, but I'm pretty sure you guys know what I'm talking about. So the flexibility, if you think you know what your job is going to be, you have it carefully written out, and you do the interview, but let them talk and decide then afterward. This is California. Be careful. Check and see what you can and cannot ask. There's a lot of laws. And you can find all those out for free. Transparency, you're not going to believe this, but the people that you are hiring are going to want to not only know what you're offering them now, but where they can go with it. No one wants to be hired for a job that just is director of operations when they really want to end up a CEO. You have to be transparent whether there's that growth or not. And that's all you really need, flexibility and transparency. That's to get them, now to keep them. Whoa. You have to actually implement it, darn it. You can't claim how wonderfully flexible you are and then tell them, but you have to be here 2 days a week, every week. The best person I ever hired, the first time I hired her, I found her in a volunteer service above self type situation. She was working pizza room in her child's middle school. That woman was in charge of the pizza. She came to work with a back so bad that she had to have her husband drive the station wagon, and she laid in the back giving instructions for pizza. I figured with a work ethic like this, by God. So I said, I want you to come to work for me. She says, I don't need a job. And I said, yeah, you do. You're working too much at the PTA. You really do need to get out of the school. So this is your excuse. You're the mom who doesn't have a job, and so you do everything. Come to work for me part-time. And she said, well, I could do part-time, but, my kid's in soccer. And I'm going, I love soccer. Let's go to the games. You get the point. Flexibility, transparency. That's it.
And I'd love to just add to that, flexibility makes me think, yes. Yeah. It makes me think about how when Alyssa came on board, we were in this stage where we were trying to figure out what to do about all the college students who we were hiring, because sometimes they didn't really have their shit together, and then they had exams, and then they would leave for spring break, and it was so taxing to keep track of all of it. And I hit a point where I was like, we're just not hiring any more college students. I can't do it anymore. And Alyssa said, basically, well, what if we designed a role that was perfect for college students, that took advantage of their schedules, that was short in a way, a short shift that actually benefited us, that wouldn't have worked for somebody full-time who wants to work their full 8 hours. We'll make sure they get a meal, and they can come work the pop after class, and they get fed, and they can take a dozen eggs home with them, and it works out for everybody. So that completely changed my perspective about how people have to and can fit into our organization. And then just a note on transparency. I am going to have to make a plug for open book management because I am such a huge fan of it. But essentially at Mei Mei, and some of you may have heard of open book, but we share our financials with the team. We don't share everything. We are selective, but everybody pretty much learns how to read a P&L and how to interpret what's going on in the business based on that. And I think that a key element of like psychological safety anywhere is understanding how if you interact with the environment, what will happen? And so we are trying to train everybody to understand that their actions are part of the big picture and that they make a difference in the business. And that has been something that totally changed the way I relate to my team and helped us all kind of get on the same side of the table.
It's perfect. Amy, you also, come on, you've got 3 brick and mortars now? Whoa.
Yeah.
What's your take on this?
3 brick and mortars. I also have a restaurant that opened March 6th of 2020. Like, we nailed it. I also run a nonprofit. So it's like, there's attracting talent. Well, fortunately, our companies are very community oriented. Attracting talent hasn't been my challenge. Keeping talent has been the bigger challenge, primarily because of they're getting poached, and I don't blame them. These are amazing people. I am fortunate to have the time with them, and they want to stay. It's just when they're getting offered 2.5 times what we can make them, and we're already at a stretch as a small business trying to scale and trying to everything out. None of them will say it's our culture. In fact, everyone who's left Rebel Nell in some capacity has stayed with us, either as a board member or they now consult with us, but I need full time. And so that's becoming more and more, and I don't have the challenge other than now I have to consider doing that next round of funding to raise and be really comparable with other salaries, and that's the tricky part for me, at least. There's a lot. I just found one. That's one of the many things that are really challenging about scaling a business is, finding that talent and then keeping them. Because our mission is really felt by everybody who walks in our doors, and that's amazing. We've hired 36 women out of the shelter, and I know we've just scratched the surface. So there's a great movement around it. It's just keeping that tucked in away with a Rebel Nell. Okay, so that question got cut off. So hold on, let me.
I guess one thing I'll just add while you're working on that is retention is really important, and at the same time, it's usually not the right thing for anyone to stay forever somewhere. Sure. My parents, for example, both doctors, which is why I'm in food. They worked at the same institution their entire lives, right? And I think things are different now in so many ways. And at Mei Mei, we've also had to push people out because it was time. That was obviously incredibly painful because they had been with us for so long. But longstanding employees can also carry organizational baggage. They can be seniors on senior spring. There are all these different elements, and retention for the sake of retention is not what we're trying to achieve. It's working the fit as long as you have it. And then of course, giving somebody a soft landing, a great recommendation to go somewhere else. I think that's some good karma that kind of circles back when you're going to recruit again.
I absolutely agree with you. And I honestly think there's nothing greater than seeing somebody kind of become a butterfly and fly away, and then know that you're part of their journey is a tremendous honor. So I want to hear more too, and I'm sure you can lean into this a little bit. We have done more you either coach them up or you coach them out. What do you do? What kind of practices? What do you encourage? I'm kind of jumping back and forth between the two of you.
Well, I don't have that problem or question. I keep everyone forever.
You are amazing. You need to be writing a book, and we will all pay handsomely for it.
No, seriously though, the answer is you're right about if someone outgrows you, kiss them goodbye, and do so in a way that they come back and support you and work on your board. I mean, that's what we do. I don't have any other. There's no hidden agenda or abilities one way or the other that I know of.
Yeah, I think for us, because, food service, the nature of the work is always that it's going to be sort of transitional for at least a portion of people who are on our team at any given time. But understanding what everybody's pathway is or what they would like it to be, whether that has to do with food or not. What are their dreams and their goals? And maybe we can't help them, but maybe we have a guest who comes in who works in the astrophysics department that you want to do your PhD in. And so I think finding the right resource for them and being okay with the fact that maybe more often than not, it's going to be outside of our company, and moving them along that path. I think that has been the strategy for a wide swath of our employees.
It's great advice. And I think actually I saw a TikTok on my way over here where it was somebody was talking about a big reorg that they had in their car company, like GM or Ford, and I was laughing. I was like, I feel like every hire we have, it's just a reorg, right? You just figure it out, and we keep evolving our process. But we're really trying to find more resources out there to help us. Do you guys have any great resources that have helped you along the way, or things that you recommend, mentor programs when it comes to hiring and building out the right process?
I'll make a quick plug for my other company, which is Prepshift. And I don't know. I mean, as an employer, I've always felt like my team deserves the world, and I am one person, and that's just a simple math problem. And so there needs to be a way to invest in your team and do it with a level of ease where you are not reinventing the wheel or the spreadsheet or whatever the tool is every single time. And so the goal of Prepshift is to make it easy for solo operators or businesses that are kind of underpowered in terms of administrative capacity to invest in their teams, create better jobs, run more profitable businesses, and we work mostly with food service. And I don't know, I think there's enough for everybody if we work together. And ultimately, I think in food, we think that way when it comes to the guest, but we're not so good about thinking that way when it comes to our own people. So we're trying to be a resource. We rely on a lot of outside resources as well. We recently went through the Mass Challenge Early Stage program, which connected us with incredible mentors. And then again, as I think Michelle said, just say hey to people. You never know what's going to happen. You don't know what's behind the door or where it's going to take you.
Awesome. And you can tell us about SCORE.
Yeah, mine's a little more specific, guys. Every single person here who pays taxes should know that you're paying for free advice to be given to small business owners. The SBA defines small business as 500 or fewer employees. I kind of think I'm looking and talking to 10 and under is my normal comfort zone myself, because the laws change on employee benefits as you get larger. But the point is, you can have alphabet soup to choose from. And let me try to break that out for you. In case you don't know this, SBA is the Small Business Association. That I figured you know. They have what's called resource partners. Now, I'll give you all the alphabet, but let me tell you the secret of how to find it when you forget it. And that is if you just go to sba.gov, it's a government site, so of course it's hard to find anything. But way at the very, very top of the home page in light gray print, there's a tiny phrase that is for partners, which no one looking at the site would think applied to them if they owned a business. Guys, you open that page and it gives you 14 different names of all the people that'll help you. So now that you know that's there, you know you can find it. SCORE was founded in '64 as Service Corps of Retired Executives. It would take C-level executives and business owners. 20 years ago, they dropped the name because not everyone is retired. We actually have 30 and 40-year-olds. Those are ones who give the tech mentoring, you know. I'm just being facetious. SCORE mentors you for life, or the life of your business. Actually, for life. We have one client with the same mentor for 25 years and 4 businesses. So it can be whatever you want. No cost, general questions, lead mentor that will just help you. They'll help you from the startup. They'll help you through a business plan. They'll help you find financing. And what they do is they connect you with some of these other partners. Say you've heard about getting certified. Your SCORE person won't help you get certified. Your SCORE person is smart enough to tell you about the SBDC, which gets you certified, the Small Business Development Center. Now SCORE is all unpaid volunteers, period. SBDC pays a lot of good people to work specific times, specific projects for you. So they will help you do a business plan as well, and they will help you get certified as a woman-owned business or a black-owned business or a veteran boots to business, whatever you want to get certified as, they will help you. But then you go back to your SCORE mentor who helps you get the contract with the government or with whatever else through PTAC. Oh gosh, procurement. I don't remember what PTAC stands for. Procurement something, PTAC. I'm trying to tell you that the SCORE people stay with you forever, and the SBDC are superb in what they do and know how to do it, but they're shorter term, and PTAC helps you get the contract, but guess who helps you keep the contract, gives the right report back to the government? Hello, the GSA is not easy to report to. We have the retired head of the GSA Western Division helping people mentor how to get their contracts finished carefully. So all of these are available. They're all resources. In terms of just employee recruitment and HR, guys, pay the $200 a year and join SHRM, Society of Human Resource Management, SHRM.org. SHRM is awesome. And if you don't want to pay the $200 to join SHRM, which I would have recommended you do anyway, but if you don't, you also can get similar information for free from California Peculiarities blog. You have to just look it up and.
Well, that was an obvious Google search. Like,
who would ever know that? It has been my go-to employment law blog from some firm called Seaforth. I've never seen or heard of, but I mean, they have the best. They have like 400 lawyers across the nation, and they have a free newsletter. And the one meant for California is darn good. California Peculiarities blog. I'm not. And then, so you've got SHRM, you've got the blog, you have, California Chamber of Commerce. I know that sounds weird because most of you probably are joining your local chambers of commerce, and congratulations, good move. California Chamber is a separate membership, but it's the one that gives you all the California-related material you need for running your business and keeps you up on top of what needs to go. Those are the resources. That's it.
That was amazing.
Okay, I had coffee with the director of the SBA about 2 hours ago, and she kept saying, now make sure you remember that, make sure you remember that. I've left out 3 of the ones she told me to remember.
But I mean, so many free resources, and they're not. I mean, they help you with state-specific issues as well. That's amazing. Okay, now I hope somebody wrote those down so I can copy off you. All right, guys. So we've learned so much, and you've given practical advice that small business and entrepreneurs can put into action. let's talk about your one gem, your nugget. What's your one piece of advice that you would give to the audience to take regarding talent in the next week?
I have that.
I was just saying,
Yeah,
like one
I
thing
have
we
it.
did this recently, and fairly recently, or let's call COVID recently. But it depends on which stage you're in. But so many of entrepreneurs, you're constantly flying the plane while you're building it. Like that's just you just don't have time, and you're like, well, I need a body. Great, you have a heartbeat, you're hired. But we started just really implementing and doing deep dive job descriptions, even for our employees that we already had. And that has been transformative. It sounds so simple, and many of us are coming from corporate cultures where we all had that. But to sit down and really do it and just identify what the goals and expectations are has been a real game changer for us going forward. So.
I was going to just say that Janet and Michelle already nailed it. If you follow their find someone new this week, my suggestion is that you apply to get a free SCORE mentor. Hello, sanfrancisco.score.org. Just get a mentor and then they'll take it from there and get you the rest of the stuff. I'm not paid for this
That
either.
takes care of that.
You're like outsource to your mentor. You're like outsource to the mentor.
I outsource a mentor.
Yes, yeah. I think for my part, I would say to maybe look at any resumes that are in your inbox or that you have reviewed recently and just try to imagine how somebody who at first glance might not seem like the right fit, they don't have the right experience, maybe they don't seem like a culture fit, maybe you don't think their schedule is going to work, and just give that person a little bit of extra time, whether it's, I don't know, interviewing them again. But I think that, I don't know, like life is weird, and we have just had so many incredible people come through Mei Mei on the craziest pathways. Like one of our prep cooks is an attorney and he's been with us for 5 years. So I guess like I think that, you know, of course we all know who the ideal employee is, or we might. That's a good exercise if you haven't done that. But there's so many other roles and so many other kinds of people who can fit into that. So I would just urge you to have an open mind and to practice having an open mind around that.